Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us today for another exciting WordStream webinar, the 20-minute PPC Work Week. My name is Chris, and I'll be moderating today's presentation. Today's webinar is brought to you by PPC University. Want to get smart in PPC? Go straight to the front of the class with WordStream's PPC University. You'll learn how to master pay-per-click advertising in Google AdWords in 3 guided courses from PPC 101 to Advanced PPC, plus free webinars, white papers, and free tools to help you along the way. So you can check that out at wordstream.com/learn. If you'd like to take part in today's webinar, you can include the hashtag WordStream. To meet today's presenters, we have with us Tim Warner and Elliot Reed. Tim and Elliot are search strategy team managers here at WordStream. They have several combined years of search marketing experience, and they're both WordStream and AdWords certified. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Yeah, super excited to join the call.
Just to give you a little bit about WordStream, so we're a search marketing software company founded in 2007, located here in Boston, Massachusetts. We're number 184, the fastest growing private company in the U.S. We're the winner of the Best Customer Engagement Driver Award from MITx in 2012. And we're the leading provider of PPC Advisor, which is our PPC management platform, the free AdWords Performance Grader, and the free AdWords Landing Page Grader. And we also have expert PPC managed services. For today's agenda, we have some shocking yet common problems we see in PPC accounts that we'll share with you. We'll go over 5 guidelines for achieving success in Google AdWords. We'll show you how to improve your PPC performance in only 20 minutes per week. And we'll save some time at the end of the presentation for some Q&A, so send us along your questions and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. So before we get started, we like to do a couple poll questions just to get an idea of who we have on the call today. So I'm going to launch a couple poll questions here, and if you guys could just pick the answer that best fits you, that'd be perfect. So if you can see that now, the question we have here is, how much time do you spend doing PPC work every week? And your choices are, I'm supposed to do work in my PPC account every week, less than 1 hour a week, 1 to 10 hours a week, 10 to 39 hours a week, or 40 plus hours per week. It's my full-time job. So I'll give you guys a couple moments to lock in your answer there. And it looks like a majority of the audience has voted, so let me just launch these poll results here. So Tim and Elliot, it looks like 43% are 1 to 10 hours a week, 29% less than 1 hour a week. We have 11% that's 10 to 39 hours a week, 10% I'm supposed to do work in my PPC account every week, and 7% 40 plus hours a week. It's your full-time job.
Interesting. Yeah, I figured, most people who are involved with PPC are probably spending less than 10 hours a week when it comes to PPC management.
Awesome. So we have one last question before we get into the content of today's webinar. So let me just launch this for you guys. And the question we have here is, what's your biggest time sink in PPC management? Is it PPC bid management, ad text authoring, keyword research or negative keyword research, reporting and analysis, or landing page optimization? And Tim and Elliot, talking to a lot of our customers, what seems to be the biggest time sink in their PPC management? What's the trend?
Yeah, I think when most people come and talk to us and work with us, they're looking for a lot of the keyword research, negative keyword type of information that we're helping people with. So looking at the poll, I wouldn't be surprised if that question is probably coming out on top.
That's definitely what I see most of the time. Maybe a close second is just making sure that their ad copy is relevant to the way people are searching out there.
Great. So let's launch the poll results here. So it looks like 45% keyword research, negative keyword research, followed by 18% reporting and analysis. Then we had 15% PPC bid management, 12% ad text authoring, and 10% landing page optimization.
Hey now.
Sounds like we were spot on the money with that.
We don't have the answers here, we swear. Okay, so let's get right into it. So guys, I'm going to hand things over to you and get started with the presentation.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Chris, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And guys, everybody out there, guys and gals, thanks for sharing a little bit of information about your all's workflow and what you guys do. We'll definitely try to fold some of that into the remainder of the webinar. Before we really dig into the content, what we'd like to do is do a little bit of a PPC Trivia. So with that, we'll kind of jump right into it. Excellent. So the first question here is, what percent on average does a small business waste each month on their AdWords spend?
So Elliot, this is what percentage of their budget, right? So if I spend $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month, that's what we're referring to, right?
What percent of that? Exactly. Spot on. So really the answer is about 25% of your budget. So if Tim is spending $1,000 a month, that means $250 of your budget is potentially being wasted on bad clicks or bad opportunity.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and what we've actually seen looking at AdWords account data back since 2007 is really depending on your industry, that 25% of wasted spend really adds up for a lot of businesses. So we kind of applied this information to a couple typical industries we see. I mean, that could be 126 more insurance quotes a month if you're in the insurance business, or 211 more enterprise software inquiries. Those are leads looking for a demo request or filling out a white paper. Or if you're a home renovator or a plumber or HVAC guy, that's 182 potential new phone calls or form fill outs that you're missing because the spend is really going to bad clicks.
Yeah, and I think probably 99% of the people who come to us, they say, hey, I can handle more business. Here I am now. This is where I want to go. This is what I need. And most of the time when we talk to people, we say, well, you actually don't have to spend more money. Let's use your budget more effectively, more efficiently, and we can help you increase your business by 25% or so, depending on what this person's needs are.
Definitely. We want to capture that wasted spend and reinvest it back into the business.
Cool. Let's go to the next one. So how often do small businesses, and we classify small businesses spending under $5,000 a month, and that could move up to 10K depending on who you are and what we're talking about, but we're talking less than 5K a month. How often are they doing work in their AdWords account? Think back to actually what we were talking about and how often you're getting in there and how much time you're spending in your account. So we find that, this is actually a trick question, 50% of small businesses check about once per month, and 25% haven't done any work in their accounts over the last 90 days. So that's incredibly alarming, and think of how often you're getting in there and you're doing work inside your account. And this isn't just logging in. This is actually going in and taking an action. Remember that too. So just doing more work in your account is probably the easiest way that you're going to be able to increase the performance of your account. Now, where people get lost is, well, people come to us and they say, Tim, yeah, that's great information, but what do I do? Right? You're telling me to log in and do some work. Well, where do I go? What do I do? How do I decide what ads text need to be rewritten? How do I decide what keywords need to be added as negatives? How do I decide what keywords need an increase in my bid for that keyword, depending on the performance of it? It's incredibly difficult to understand that, but I think some of the information we're going to give you guys today will really help you there too.
What's really awesome about this is really anybody can improve the performance of their account as long as they kind of know where to look. It just takes a little bit of action, and that's what we'd like to help you guys out with.
Yep. One more question.
All right. What percent of AdWords accounts have at least one negative keyword been added to them in the last 90 days? So A, 0%, B, less than 25%, C, more than 25 to less than 50%, D, more than 50%, less than 100%, or E, 100%. Well, really the answer to that question is C, right there in the middle. More than 25%, less than 50%, yet 20% have yet used negative keywords ever. Really the key takeaway here is you need to focus on keyword relevance and keyword expansion. The language people type into Google evolves every single day, and you constantly need to stay on top of this. And this really plays nicely into that activity question we just asked. You need to constantly be checking your account and adding new long-tail search terms into your account to make sure that you're relevant for the way people are typing today. And on the flip side, add new negative keywords to make sure you're not showing up for those things that sound similar to what you do, but just don't serve your products or services.
And 45% of you people on these on the webinar right now whose time sink is keyword research, negative keyword, this should be perking your ears up right now, right? And how do I find this type of information?
This is what we want to address.
Cool. So how did we get this data? Well, I'm really happy that you asked me that question. We got the data from our AdWords Performance Grader, and I'm assuming that everybody on this call understands what this tool is, and hopefully most of you have used this before. If you haven't, I suggest you go to the website right after the call and absolutely do it. The URL is right at the bottom of the page where it says wordstream.com/Google-AdWords. Free tool, gives you an understanding of where you are, and I think actually Chris just put that into the chat too, so all you'd have to do is click on it. But awesome tool. It allows you to really see exactly where you are with your account performance in your AdWords account, and it's comparing you against other accounts of your same size and in the same industry. And it's really just a free, really quick, instant audit to be able to check exactly where you are. It's going to give you 8 different areas of your account that you can improve upon: wasted spend, click-through rate, what else, Elliot? Impression share, mobile, how you're performing with mobile. Now, why do you want to do this? Well, you have to know what to improve before you start improving your account. So hopefully this will be able to help everybody else out on the call.
Yeah, we'll definitely dig into this a little bit more here as we move forward. You know, a little bit of facts about that performance grader. We've actually graded over $3 billion in ad spend. That's a lot of
I think it's actually over $4 billion too. Chris, you got to update the slide.
Yeah, it needs to be updated. It's been bumped up to over $4 billion. Really, there's not many companies out there. I would actually say there's no other company out there that knows more about AdWords and how to analyze AdWords data other than us, besides Google. We've just been doing it for so long. We've run so many graders. WordStream has deep insight into the secrets of PPC, and some common trends that we see is 1 in 4 accounts have 0 negative keywords. So we don't want you guys to be in that group of people that have 0 to negative keywords. 50% of accounts have not been optimized in the last 30 days, and 25% in the last 3 months. That directly correlates with that activity trivia question we just mentioned. That's one of the most important factors, and this is really how we found out about that activity stat. And then low quality scores, they really wreak havoc on campaign performance. We'll definitely want to touch upon that, why that's important, but it all really ties into relevancy and keyword research and just being active in your accounts.
Yep. And after evaluating hundreds of thousands of accounts through the grader, but also from all of our consultants here and our clients that we work with, and we even manage some extremely large accounts here too, we found that the average campaign for a small business is actually in pretty bad shape, and it's kind of a train wreck here. A lot of accounts that we look at, they don't have conversion tracking. There's no negative keywords. There's really little account activity happening once every few months or so. So what does this mean? It really means that most advertisers have no idea where they're going, what they're doing, how to understand where to get to where they need to go. And from what it looks like to us, just looking at the data, it looks like a lot of people just don't care. And those were just some of the, the lowlights that we actually found in our study. So I think a lot of AdWords advertisers get lost in kind of like this death spiral, an AdWords death spiral, and it kind of works like this, where they have a lousy campaign, you get penalized with low ad positionings and quality scores and high cost per clicks, and it results in even worse performance and results in a ton of frustration and complacency, and ends up in failure, right? We see
Absolutely.
This kind of stuff all the time.
Talk to people every day with these kind of issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we wanted to do is, before we even jump into how to manage your account in 20 minutes a week, we actually wanted to highlight 5 things that we know to be true about having success inside of AdWords.
Gotcha. So if you found yourself kind of feeling like that train off the tracks, and some of the things that Tim was just talking about really kind of resonated with you, I think you might be interested to know about these 5 things. These 5 things are really high level, but if you think about them every day, it will get you heading in the right direction. We found these things by analyzing thousands of accounts, talking to people every day. So it's not just looking at data, but getting anecdotal evidence from it. Basically, people telling us their story and working with them to fix that out, or fix those issues.
Yep. So number 1 that we've known to be true is that PPC is hard. We're not saying that it's not. We're not saying it's easier, but in our study and in all the information that we have here, we found that the most successful PPC advertisers are leveraging additional tools, whether they're third-party commercial tools, kind of like a WordStream, or internally developed tools through Excel, or using all the free tools that Google has to offer, which aren't that great anymore, but they have them. The people who are doing really well with AdWords are into make it less hard, are using this stuff to gain a competitive edge.
Definitely. I mean, one thing we've seen is just a lot more people are entering the AdWords market space, and to get a leg up, you really need to be using some efficiency tools, because there's a lot of people out there competing in AdWords, and it takes a lot of work, and if you do it manually by hand, it just takes a lot of time, and you're going to get behind that curve. The next thing, you get what you put in. I mean, this is almost a life lesson outside of just an AdWords lesson, but it most definitely applies to AdWords. A little work every week in your AdWords account will have big results and pay big dividends for your account. So it really comes back to that activity, going in, taking action, making sure that you're taking valuable action, not just going in and looking at things. We need to make sure that we're going in with a focused approach, a little bit of a workflow, and hit on certain areas to actually find opportunity and take action within the account. We want to make sure that you guys have a game plan. We'll show you how to do that here in a moment, but this is a big one.
Sure. All right. Number 3, we want to make sure that we're keeping our PPC houses clean. So bad keywords can play a big-time role in your AdWords account destruction. So they can drain your budget, they can lower your account quality score, really make it incredibly difficult to achieve any type of success inside of AdWords. The people that we talk to and the people that we see who are doing well are pausing, are fixing, or they're even killing their poorly performing keywords using negative keywords or more restrictive match types such as an exact or phrase. And the people who are doing that type of stuff are far outperforming advertisers, and as Elliot's finding out, agencies too that employ the buy and hold philosophy, which really means that they're reporting on the same keywords over and over and over again rather than actually doing something.
Right.
Rather than taking the peel and stick method, keyword that's performing really well, take it out, start its own ad group, so on and so forth.
Definitely. And another thing that really plays well into this is just account structure. You definitely want to make sure that your account is structured properly, kind of like this picture here. If you have some sort of structure to put your shoes into and your clothes and hang your pants on one side and your dress shirts on the other side, it's a lot easier to maintain some organization rather than what we see on the left-hand side. And if that's something that you're saying, well, how do I get that account structure? It might be time to call in the resources and maybe speak to someone and have a third or maybe a second set of eyes take a look at your account and say, hey, this is how I would structure it. All right. Well, as with anything in life, you got to have goals. It's hard to achieve something if you don't really know what you're working towards. So knowing what you want defines and simplifies your workflow. So, for example, like every week, if you say, hey, I really want to focus on click-through rate this week, my click-through rate's not very well, well, then we want to start taking action towards improving that. Or if you say, hey, I'm showing up for all sorts of crazy search terms, maybe you should set a goal for, setting new negative keywords every week. Or if you feel like you haven't touched your ad copy in a month or so, take a moment, write out a goal. I want to edit 15 ad copies and really go after it. But unless you have goals, you're just going to kind of wander around aimlessly, and we don't want that.
Yeah, I think Chris is actually going to launch a poll in 2 seconds here. But for my advice, if you don't have goals, start small. Okay, and I think the question is, what's the question, Chris?
So the poll question is,
how often do you set goals in your AdWords account? If you don't have any starts, we want to start small. Okay, starting small means, hey, maybe today I'm going to add a negative keyword. Maybe this week my goal is to break out an additional ad group from
a large campaign.
A large campaign or a large, exactly, right? That is my tip for you. It's not to sit here and say, hey, this week my goal is to convert 50 more conversions from my AdWords account. I don't think that's going to happen.
Definitely, and I think Tim brings up a good point. This should not be overwhelming. It should be, look, take baby steps, just do something. That's the key thing. Start small, and we'll help you go from where you are now to where you want to get to, which is bringing in more leads, bringing in more opportunity, and growing your business, because that's what it's all about.
Yep. So I think the
poll's closed.
The poll has closed, and we are sharing the results. So 3% of the people on the call have daily goals, 22% weekly, 42% monthly, 33% never. I'm not surprised by that. With a lot of people that we talk to as well, they probably are going to be somewhere in that 42% and 33% for the monthly and the never.
Yeah, and a lot of times when people call us, we actually take a moment to actually talk about your monthly business goals. How many new leads or phone calls are you looking for this month, and more importantly, how many do you need to sustain or to grow the business? Because that's an important component to your AdWords account.
Yeah, and I think goals is kind of a general statement too. Goals could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It could mean something in analytics. It could mean something where I'm logging in. It could mean something where I want more conversions, and this is my conversions goal. But again, it's having something to work towards and getting in there and actually doing that work, I think, is what we're trying to stress.
Definitely. So for the 33% that don't have goals, I hope you do after this call.
Yep. And hopefully we can help you guys out too. Number 5, the last one. To succeed in PPC and AdWords, everything is about relevancy. So I'm sure everyone on the call has heard quality score before. And what is quality score and how important quality score is that it can help you. And essentially it's just relevancy. And we're actually going to dig into that in a little bit after this slide too. But really when you think about it, it's giving the person searching a direct link to exactly what they're looking for. So it could be granular long-term keyword selection, and you're combining that with extremely relevant ad text and landing pages. And really what you want to try to do is improve your click-through rate to get to that higher quality score. So we have a calculation of quality score on the next slide. And here's where it is. So click-through rate is going to make up about 65% of your quality score. Ad text relevancy, we're looking at about 20%. Landing page quality is going to be about 15%. But really, if you can see an example of that search and how it's talking directly to that ad, Zappos here is actually doing an incredibly good job at being relevant with their ad text. Go ahead.
No, definitely. I mean, quality scores are an incredibly important component to your AdWords account, as you guys know. If you guys have any more questions about it, feel free to give us a call. We can talk about hours on quality score, but it all definitely ties together. Click-through rate is a major component. It's one of the largest factors in your quality score, and then obviously ad text relevancy plays a huge component to that, and then you want to make sure that you're driving people to the appropriate landing pages.
Yep, and think about Google rewarding you too. Google wants to reward the person who is the most relevant for that search being conducted.
Excellent. So, I mean, this is where we're going to kind of transition and say, okay, we've kind of given you some background. We've talked about what we've seen. We've talked about some of the issues. We've talked about what you need to be focusing on, keep in the back of your head as you go through this journey of managing an AdWords account. That sometimes seems endless, because it is. But what can I do to improve this? How is this going to help me? What can I take away from here? So what we want to do is really introduce you to kind of the whole reason for this call, the 20-minute PPC Work Week. It is something that we here we've developed, and we're really proud of it. It's kind of one of our signature tools and our signature workflows. When we developed this tool, we actually reached out to a lot of PPC experts, a lot of PPC professionals, and we simply asked them, hey, what do you guys do on a weekly basis that really eats up most of your time, but also has the biggest impact and provides the best results for your accounts? And they really they said there were 5 major areas, and it's not too it should be no surprise by now that these really touch on some of the things that we talked about earlier. Adding negative keywords to your account on a weekly basis, making sure your bids are appropriate and allocating the budgets to the areas that are performing, adding new long-tail keywords or taking search terms that are performing and turning those into keywords into your account on a weekly basis, optimizing your ad copy, making sure that it's relevant to how people are finding your ads, and then of course reviewing costly keywords so you're not wasting all your budget on things that aren't performing really well for you.
Awesome. So number 1, we're getting in our account and we're going to be able to take some action. And so if we remember, the thing that's holding most people back from achieving AdWords success is actually doing this work. And a lot of people just don't have the time to do it. A lot of people don't have the knowledge either, which we're going to help out with. But this is just an easy way to be able to come in and take that direct action. Number 2, what we're helping people with is their relevancy. All right, so everything that we're trying to help people with is becoming more relevant inside your AdWords account, is talking to that search that's being conducted, really cleaning up your PPC funnel that Google is judging you on. So all of the tools that we have here are going to aid you with that as well.
Yeah, and you guys might be saying, wait a minute, how can I do all this stuff every single week? Well, that's the beauty of this. This is analyzing your account every week and providing a fresh set of alerts for you to simply work through and either accept or reject. So you can have that activity. We talked about how important activity is. By going through here, you're going to be incredibly active. You're going to be more active than your competitors with this tool because you're going to be going in there and attacking those areas that we've learned are weaknesses in other accounts.
So here's actually a live look-in at one of our live accounts inside of here too. And we can see how we're helping people. And if, I imagine a lot of people have signed up for the free trial. It's a 7-day free trial. I imagine most people have signed up for it. If you haven't, I highly suggest you do. And the reason is because you're going to see different areas of your account that you can perform on. You're going to see potential negative keywords that you can add into your account. And this is actually real life information. We're bringing this directly from your AdWords account and redisplaying it for you. And you can see how much that's going to save you every single, how much it's going to save you over the course of the year from these keywords that we're finding for you. So if we come back to that trivia question we asked at the beginning of the call, how much wasted spend do I have in my account? On average, we're finding about 25% of your monthly budget you're wasting. We're going to be able to see that right in here.
That's the idea. We're going to help you identify those areas of waste and take action before they become a problem, before they get to that 25% of your budget. So you can then apply that budget to the areas of the account that are working. And that's why we have this keyword, this optimized keyword bid. We're essentially saying, okay, what keywords every week are performing this week relative to how other keywords in the space are performing. And we're fine-tuning your bid every single week to make sure that the areas that have the best chance to convert, the best chance to drive a phone call, the best chance to really, I guess, be at the top of the page, have that fighting chance. It really does take weekly attention at the keyword level managing your bids. And a lot of times, bid management is what falls to the wayside just because it's such a timely consuming process that really you have to look at every keyword, and our software will scan every single keyword for you and provide you with a list of recommendations that are up to date with whatever happened in the past week.
Awesome. Next up, what we're doing is we're adding in longer tail keywords. So these are keywords that we're currently not bidding on, but we're getting clicks and impressions for. So think of it this way: we're putting in, and a lot of people don't understand this tool here, and so hopefully I can explain it a little bit better. It doesn't matter if you're using our keyword tool or our software or not. You should be doing this every single week anyways. We are getting clicks and impressions for keywords that we're not bidding on. We're getting these because of the match type we're using, whether it's broad, phrase, or modified broad. And it's bringing in different traffic that we either are relevant for or we're not relevant for. So what we want to do is we actually want to make you become more relevant for these awesome keywords that are producing great results for you. Because right now we're not getting that credit from Google that we should, that we think we deserve. And so again, bringing these keywords in, either creating a new ad group around it or we're attaching them to an existing ad group. Either way, what we're trying to do is help ourselves get more sales coming from Google AdWords, and this is an incredibly important action we need to be taking.
Yeah, this really ties back into the kind of crazy stat that we learned from Google that, you know, every single day there's about 3 billion searches typed into google.com, which is mind-blowing in itself. But what's even crazier is that 20% of that 3 billion is new. And what that tells me, you know, if I'm managing an account, that the language is evolving. Every day it changes just a little bit. And so you need to make sure that you're relevant for that new language that people are typing into Google. The way you do that is you bid on new search terms. You bid on that new language that comes in and day out. And essentially by doing that, you're telling Google, yep, I'm relevant for this new language. I can serve this product. I have the solution that these people are looking for. Show my ad. And that's what this tool is helping you do.
Yep, people evolve with their searches. You need to evolve right along with them.
And kind of in conjunction with that is your ad text. So the language is changing. Your keywords have been updated. You've updated your negative keywords so you're not showing up for, you know, irrelevant stuff. But now you need to make sure that the actual ad, the language that you're speaking out to, your first impression to that potential searcher, that customer, is exactly what they're looking for. So optimize ad, every single week our software is going to look across all of your ads. And some of these accounts, I know you guys probably manage accounts that have hundreds of ad groups. It will check every single ad group, and it will compare it against the click-through rates and a lot of different metrics that we're not going to go into detail now, but to find the worst performing ad. And then we're going to say, hey, let's take a look at this ad. Let's compare it to the search traffic that's generating that ad. And then let's make some fine-tuned edits to make sure that your ad copy speaks directly to that search traffic that generated that ad to show in the first place.
Relevancy, quality score, higher page positioning, lower cost per click, lower cost per acquisition. That's what we're doing here. Last step, what we want to be doing on a weekly basis is we want to be reviewing our costly keywords. Keywords that are costing us money and not making us any money. We don't want to continue spending money if we're not generating a positive ROI on our keywords. Most people don't know how to find them. Again, using a third-party tool like a WordStream, you're going to be able to come back in here and just easily see these keywords that are draining your budget.
Definitely. I mean, so this has been kind of a whole overview of the 20-minute PPC work week. I definitely encourage you, if you have any questions, we will have a question and answer session at the end of the call, but more importantly, give us a call. We love talking about this tool. It's our signature tool. We're very proud of it, and more importantly that, it does work, and we've seen great success.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's the philosophy behind it too, where hey, you can manage your account in 20 minutes a week. You can make big improvements within your account every single week, but you got to get in there and do it.
Yep, and sometimes people just need a little bit of a guiding arrow or a guiding workflow to help them out with that, and that's what this tool aims to do. All right, so let's kind of move on to the next component that we'll kind of talk about really the keys to success, and it kind of falls right in line with what we've been talking about this whole call.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about relevancy. It's all about having your keywords match your ad text, match your landing pages, making sure that in the back end inside your account we have small, relevant ad groups. We really don't want more than 10 to 15 keywords per ad group with 2 to 3 ads per grouping, and making sure that our landing pages are answering that question of the search. I kind of just jumped around there a little bit, so I apologize to everybody. But really, if you can take your keyword, take your ad, take your page, you're going to get relevance plus a good user experience, higher quality score. And I kind of touched on it earlier. Higher a quality score, the better page positioning Google will give me, and they'll actually allow me to show up for more qualified searches too. A lower cost per click, which most people don't realize, which results in a lower cost per acquisition. Okay, it's gonna cost us less to acquire more sales.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, what we have done here is we've helped people give the person searching a better user experience. You could have the best keywords in the most relevant ad text with awesome USPs, unique selling proposition. But unless my landing page is actually answering that question, and if we're not converting those people into sales, what is the point? And so we've created our landing page tool here, which is going to allow you to just easily go in. You don't need a webmaster anymore. You don't need a web creator anymore. You can do this on your own. You can create awesome, relevant, tight landing pages, and you can even track all your leads too. So you can see people who are coming through, what they're searching for, and you can store those leads as in a mini CRM that we've set up for people.
Yeah, definitely. This might be a little hard to kind of see from the slide, but we're trying to take multiple components from that landing page creation tool and giving you a really good overview of it. But what's most important to realize about this is that the landing page is really the end of that PPC sales funnel. It's all about working that lead from that initial search that they typed into Google through your PPC sales funnel. And to really make it worthwhile, you need to have some way to capture that lead. And that is either in the form fill out or a white paper download or a phone call. Either way, our landing page creation tool will help you capture that lead, register that you got the lead so you can attribute ROI, you know where it came from, and then more importantly, you can give them a call and hopefully provide a service for them.
And Elliot, can you just tell the audience where the actual landing pages are hosted when you're using the software? We're just getting a few questions in for that.
Definitely. You would create a subdomain, and so the landing pages will be hosted on WordStream servers.
Very easy.
Very easy to set up. And more importantly, we have a whole team that helps people set this information up. It's a very quick process, to be honest, and to create hundreds of landing pages, essentially 1 or 2 landing pages per ad group, it only takes about 5 or 10 minutes per ad or per landing page to create. So it's a very easy, streamlined process. That was the idea. So the next key to success, know how you're performing. This is a real big one too. It's just like know your goals, but you want to know how you're measuring up to those goals. And so there's a couple tools in WordStream that WordStream has provided to really help you with this process. We do have a monthly success report that auto-generates for you, and you can either share it with the rest of your team or send it to some other people if that's something that you need to do. But the idea here is really targeting that PPC sales funnel, making sure that people are really working down from the top where that initial search triggered your ad to show, all the way down to that conversion. And we graphically show this to you with this kind of search funnel here. And within the report, there's a lot of other charts and data points that we do share with you. But the idea is to make this incredibly easy to consume because we know you guys are busy. And so the point is to have a quick snapshot of how you guys are performing. That doesn't take too long to really dig through and understand.
I wish we actually had another questionnaire here that asks people how they're doing reporting or who's doing reporting or how often you're doing reporting. Because I think most people we talk to here, and it could be 50-50, 50% of the people we do talk to actually do have reporting, 50% don't.
Yeah.
But we're pretty bullish on it. The reason we're bullish on it is because you need to understand where your money or where your company's money is being spent and what you're actually getting back in return for that. And there's some other things, right? I mean, you want to prove the work that you're doing. You want to prove how well you're doing. You want to show your boss. You want to show your business partner, whoever it is. They need to understand, and this is kind of the best way to show them how you're doing.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of the business owners out there on the phone know a little bit about reporting and why it's so important. It's just as important for your AdWords account. If you see an area that's not performing well, that can turn into your your daily or your weekly goal to fix. So it all is related. It's just a matter of logging in the account and taking action. On the lines of reporting, we actually have a great new feature that we're very excited to release, but arguably is more important than just reporting on the AdWords. It's call tracking. We've heard you guys loud and clear. To be honest, we've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of business owners say that's great, but we get phone calls, and we'll get all the way down to the end of that PPC sales funnel, and then instead of filling the form out, they pick up the phone and call us. In the past, that used to be kind of a little bit of a mystery, a black hole. Well, now WordStream actually has partnered with the leading call tracking provider solution out there, MarchX, and we are providing you with call tracking where we can actually report down to the keyword level which campaign, which ad group, and even which keyword delivered that phone call, delivered that conversion.
Right. So think of that, everybody on the phone. Think of that, being able to understand exactly what keywords are driving the calls, when they're driving the calls, having a recording of that call to understand how that call actually performed and how that keyword performed, and then imagine the type of optimization you can do from there. It really is pretty fantastic, and I don't know how many people, maybe there's another poll question we can ask too, Chris, how many people on the call actually have call tracking set up, but again, it's something that we feel is unbelievably important.
Definitely.
When managing an AdWords account.
Definitely, and the best part about this is that all of this is provided under the PPC Advisor software solution. It's really the whole idea is to help people from the top of the PPC sales funnel all the way to the end. So the landing pages, the call tracking, and the 20-minute work week are all part of the PPC Advisor software.
Yep, and it's all about cleaning up your PPC funnel to make sure that you're generating the highest ROI possible. All right, so to summarize everything that we just went over, which was a lot, and if you guys have any questions, I think we're going to put our contact information up on the last page, so you're always more than willing to get a hold of me or Elliot. But most of the people that we talk to, their accounts are not performing very well, and again, that's coming back to our AdWords Performance Grader, and we can see the type of information to prove that point. Again, the 5 habits of successful PPC marketers. Elliot, if you want to help me, number 1 is PPC is hard, that we know. Number 2 is you get what you put in.
Definitely.
Number 3 is keep your PPC house clean.
Yep.
Number 4, you got to have some goals. Number 5, it's all about relevancy.
You didn't even need my help.
Didn't even need your help, man. And then coming down into quality score, again, quality score is relevancy, right? The higher our quality score, better page positioning, lower cost per click, lower cost per acquisition. If anybody walked up and down the aisles of WordStream on any given day, you'd probably hear quality score mentioned 100 to 150 times. Probably a day.
Probably by just me.
Yeah, maybe just by Elliot.
So multiply that by a couple people, and you got a lot of it. So.
Yeah, in coming into the type of work that needs to be done in an AdWords account, don't think of that as a monthly or a quarterly task. It really is a weekly task, and getting in once a week, doing the type of analyzation that you need is incredibly important. And then what we've allowed people to do here is really manage your account in 20 minutes a week, and not just manage it, but improve it within 20 minutes a week. And I think that's what we really wanted to stress here.
Awesome, thanks guys, and thank you everyone for all the questions you have coming in. We just have a few offers we want to throw up on the screen before we get into Q&A here. So we have a free live demo of WordStream's 20-minute PPC Work Week. So that's part of PPC Advisor, as Elliot said. So you have, you get the whole package there. You get the 20-minute work week, landing page software. You get the call tracking, the PPC reporting. It's all part of the PPC Advisor. So you can get that free live demo of that. You can connect your account with one of our PPC experts here. Everyone's AdWords certified, so you get the expert advice from them, and at the same time you get you get to upload your account. So it's all about you. So it's a great free offer we have there. The other one's a free 101 AdWords grader walkthrough with a PPC expert. So again, you can speak with our experts here. That AdWords performance grader report that you run for your account, they'll actually walk you through each step and talk about what you can improve your what areas that you can improve your account to make some impact in your account. So and then C is nothing at the moment there. So we'll leave this up on the screen. We'll let you guys.
I think one key component of these offers is it's all very, very specific to your business. We'll be looking at your goals, we'll be looking at your AdWords account, and we'll help you develop a strategy and a solution to really help you get from where you are now to where you need to be. And it kind of comes back to the relevancy thing. This is a high level view, but what we'd love to do is speak with you about what you're working on and what areas you're struggling with.
And it looks like I accidentally closed the poll, silly me. So if you guys just want to send me your offers that you would like to take us up on, I can get those in the system here. So A was the live demo, B was the one-on-one AdWords grader walkthrough, and C was nothing at the moment. So if you guys just want to send that in the chat box, I can track that for you. So let's just get right into Q&A. We had a lot of great questions here. I know we had a lot of content that we shared today. So again, if you guys have any really in-depth questions, feel free to give us a call. So one of the questions we have here is, can you use your own phone number for the call tracking feature, or do you have to use one from WordStream?
So we would actually have to use one of the WordStream call tracking numbers, and we're reserving a pool of numbers for everybody. I really wish we could use your number, but because we're tracking down to the keyword level, it would be absolutely impossible to use your business telephone line. But what we do is actually route that directly into your phone.
Yeah, so the call will ring on your cell phone or your hard line or what have you. But the key thing to remember is we're going to provide you with enough lines to have super relevant, super specific call tracking. And you need actually a lot of lines to do that, so you almost assign a phone number per ad group, essentially, so you know when that ad gets clicked on and someone ends up calling that number, it came from a specific phone number. And if you had one number that serves your entire AdWords account, you wouldn't be able to track it at all. So that's why we would need to use one of our numbers.
Great. The next question we have here, so does PPC Advisor, well, the 20-minute work week, does it look at the previous week worth of data, or only the period of week that you assign in to your account?
It prioritizes it. Again, it's all about relevancy, and you want to be using the language that's most relevant, which is the language that was typed in the last week or 30 days. So it does give seniority or priority to the most recent data, but it also does look across trends. We need to understand trends and historically what's been happening. So it does pull up to a year back if we see trends that have been lasting that long and haven't been converting. So, for example, if someone has been typing a search query that has the same word month over month over month and not a single conversion pops up, our software will say, wait a minute, this looks a little funny, let's pull this to your attention, and then let you make the decision if it's a negative keyword or a good keyword to add. But it does go back a whole year.
So we get this question a lot, and I think it really varies by industry. But what would what would you guys consider to be a good click-through rate?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I mean, whenever I look at accounts, I kind of use the 3% as a threshold. But again, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. It's so specific. And you know what? I wish we had an answer for you, but we really don't, because it varies so dramatically industry by industry. So there's no standard click-through rates. I wish we could give you one, but I'm sorry. The way that the landscape changes, 3% might be good for someone, and 1% might be great for someone else, depending on what they're in. So there's no industry average, or there's no average that we know of.
Great. So the next question we have here is, how long should someone have a keyword in their account before they rate it as being like poor, and they should use it, as a negative keyword, or get it deleted from their account?
Yeah, I think it has to be impression weighted, and so you have to look at the average impressions for your keyword, or your average impressions for the last 30 days. Because if one keyword has 10 impressions and there's no clicks, and let's say over 30 days, I don't think that is enough information to take action on it yet. But if we're looking at your average impressions per keyword, and we're going way above that threshold, and we're not getting the type of traffic that we want, then yeah, maybe it's time to make a change.
Yeah, and I think, kind of to sum up, Tim's spot on, to sum that up, there's no average time length. It's more about the data. If you're getting tons of great data, and it's saying, hey, you got tons of impressions and no click, and that might be only in 2 days you've gotten that enough data, then you need to pull that before it becomes a problem. But if you're getting great performance on it, then what we'll want to do is include it in the account and optimize for it.
Yeah, and again, I think that's for most people, it's really hard information to see when you're going directly into AdWords. So with our software, to actually be brought out right for your attention.
Yep.
Great. I just want to let everyone know we will be sending out the slides and recording of this. So I know we moved really quickly through the presentation. It's a lot of information to consume. So I'll be sending that out after the webinar, so you guys can check that out again.
Why don't we do like one more question, Chris? If
Sure.
That's cool.
Yep. Running short on time here, so we'll do one more question. Someone asked, does WordStream's tool work for Yahoo and Bing as well as AdWords?
Most definitely. It's a great question. Yahoo and Bing, it's a great platform. It typically requires just as much work, but some people say, hey, I only get 20 or 30% of the exposure, which is true. But with WordStream, you can actually load both accounts into the platform and manage them at the same time. So you're essentially taking the same action on both accounts with one push of a button, so to speak, and just basically increasing your exposure to that extra 20-30%.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it now, Yahoo and Bing are making up about 30% of the search volume that's available to you. If you need to increase your business, one of the easiest ways to do that is actually just jump on their search engine. I mean, it's an awesome way to get a new audience that is engaged and ready to purchase, and a lot of times our traffic tends to be a little bit cheaper too. So again, I would suggest using a tool if you're going to be doing that, and do some research and make sure that you're going to do it correctly. And if you are interested, anybody over here can have an intelligent conversation with you and point you in the right direction. But if you guys need to ask me or Elliot any questions, our name and our phone numbers are right there. Those lines go directly to us. Or if you feel more comfortable with an email, it's first initial last name at wordstream.com, and we'd be more than happy to jump on the phone or have one of our consultants do that with you today or tomorrow, whatever you guys feel comfortable with.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear from you.
Great. Well, thank you guys, and thanks everyone for joining us today, and we hope you join us for our next webinar.
Thanks, everyone.